We're going to make that report.
All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys can hear me okay, please let me know. Last time I was live, I was using StreamYard, and every time I switch from StreamYard back to my original OBS, I have issues with audio. So if you can just let me know if audio's good, if my volume's too soft, too loud, or just right. I don't want to get rambling on before... let's see. Okay, yes is good. Good. Awesome. All right. Okay, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome. We always like to get back by featuring missing people at the beginning of the show. Today's missing, we have Haley Smith out of Florida. She's just 12 years old. In the notes, it says she was last seen on January 19th. So that was 5 days ago. It says in Pace, Florida. I've never heard of that. Pace, Florida. If anybody knows where that is exactly, northern or southern. Family is deeply concerned for her safety. There's not much notes on here, but it does have the number 850-983-1100. Yeah, it doesn't say what she was wearing or anything, unfortunately. And here's a picture of Haley there, just 12 years old, missing out of Pace, Florida. And yeah, missing January 19th of this year, 5 days missing. All right, guys. One thing I just wanted to say, I do apologize with not yesterday, but on Wednesday, I know a lot of people had donated or became members, and I wish I could have shouted everybody out, but I only had so much time with Jennifer, and it's been a while since I've used StreamYard. And so I do apologize that I didn't get to everybody, but I really wanted to, maximize my time with Jennifer because, again, like I said in that live show, it's not every day you get to, interview somebody with that kind of background and get their insight, right? So, but of course, as always, your, donations, just the support to this channel means the world to me. So... quickly, just make sure everything's set up good. I promise you I got an exciting show. I'm going to show you something because, we got Pincho doing some amazing work with the 3D, but I also want to give you some other context of how they knew that it was around 3 a.m. And this is something, of course, that, something like PI Steve is not going to tell you, right? But we're just going to show it again because it just drives me nuts that they're just leaving so much out when it comes to this case. It's like they say that they're trying to help this case, but really they're just keeping the public in the dark about things. And so we're going to shed some light on some things. I promise you this will open your eyes. Some of you that'll have surveillance camera systems, like the ones I'm going to show here in a bit, probably then already know what I'm going to be showing. But anyway, I'm going to play a quick recap real quick, make sure your things are good, and I'll be right back.
Missing juvenile, 2008 Traffic Court, 1008 Traffic Court, Michigan. Caller advised this morning they was having a 15-year-old male talking to bed. We are right now 3 blonde hair working my bed, but we're going to turn it down. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Does have a kind of autism. It's the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
Informer.
Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic teenager who lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was last seen Sunday night on February 25th by his mother, Katie Proudfoot. The next morning, on the 26th, his mother went to wake Rogers up and get him ready for school, but Rogers was nowhere to be seen. Sebastian Rogers was allegedly wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, his glasses, and his keychain flashlight. They also claimed that all of his shoes were accounted for, which means he is most likely barefoot. the Amber Alert and last sighting.
Okay.
Which the date says February 26th. On Monday, February 26th, an endangered child. All right, give me 1 second here so I can get it to where I had it set up. Make sure you guys can see it well. PJ, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting this channel. God bless you. Of course, any support is welcome, but it's something I beg for. One of these times, I think maybe we'll do something for Pincho. And if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, when I get to that point, we'll kind of shout out Pincho. I did send him some money, but it'd be nice to maybe do something for him as well, for the amazing work he's doing and continue to work. So obviously I did a live with Jennifer Coffindaffer, which was amazing. You know, there's some things that if we get some time, I would like to talk about. One of the main things I was really interested that she talked about is how the shoes, you know, and it's, you know, obviously a difficult topic because, you know, it suggests, you know, if it was foul play, you know, if somebody was carrying his body, they're not going to really worry about his shoes. And I thought that was really an interesting comment, you know. Again, that she's not saying that's exactly what happened, but that's, you know, one possibility. And that was very interesting. But anyway, since I was so focused on preparing for that show, it took, you know, as most of you guys know, I'm a visual person when it comes to my shows. I spent hours putting them together. With Jennifer, I spent 2 days putting it together. I know it may not seem like that, but, you know, I am very meticulous and tedious. Anyway, so with the Lore Lodge interview, I really, even though I did listen to it, and I was kind of there, I was working on the show with Jennifer, preparing for it, so I wasn't fully, like, you know, invested. I mean, I was, but I wasn't, you know, taking notes, shall we say. So now, after listening without having any distractions, I'm going to play a few clips from the Lore Lodge, and some things that this clown has put out, and I'm going to show you some things that he knows. You know, if you know, you know. And anyway, let's just get right into it because it just drives me nuts what this guy says. But anyway, so of course, if you missed the Lore Lodge interview, definitely check it out after the show. I think I forgot to put the link in the description, so I will do that second the show's off. But I took about 10 minutes worth of the 2-hour show. I think it's over 2 hours. Just a few clips, but there's some very interesting stuff that he mentioned.
So I'm not sure where they're getting that.
So again, I kind of told you guys how they figured this out around 3 a.m. But, you know, there's people that just, I guess, either just don't want to admit when they're wrong. You know, I have no issues. I was raised, you know, to admit, you know. But anyway, moving on. Let's listen to what he says, and then let's explain everything and what something I should have shown a long time ago. But, you know, anyway, well,
you know, there's some confusion because the timestamp was broke, as you said, was stuck on that camera. So at like 3 something in the morning. People watch it again, watch the upper left corner when it pans across it, that you'll see it's not moving at all. So you got to just forget about that.
So obviously he's talking about the timestamp, which I put down here, made it bigger so you guys can see. Yes, it is stuck. It got stuck 2 days prior, which is so weird. You know, it got stuck on a Friday, the 23rd, and then coincidentally, the day after he went missing on the 26th, that Tuesday, it started working again. But anyway,
3 a.m. for a minute. That, you know, and be open to. It could be any time during night hours, right? And so with the owner, now we went and did some recreation tests. Mm-hmm. Two or three nights we did there. The owner was extremely gracious and let everybody on the property. And he said, and you know, I'm gonna take them at their word. There's no reason not to. He said that, you know, again, he didn't. This was an old school camera. It had its own server. He did not know how to export the footage.
Oh no, closed captions. No, wait, can I turn it on? Oh no. Oh, that's why I hate going back over to StreamYard, switching different ones, because it resets everything. Hold on, guys. Someone's asking for captions. One second. Oh wait. Oh wait. I think I'm. Let's see. What is it gonna let me do it? Let me see if it'll do it. Sometimes once you start the live, it won't let you switch it. And oh wait. No captions? Oh. It says it's on. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. It says it's on. If there isn't, there will be after the show, guys. I apologize for anybody that has trouble hearing. But yeah, it says it's on. I may have to reset this, so I apologize, guys. There's nothing I can do on my side. I would, believe me, I always make sure I have captions on. So anyway, I'm gonna have to continue. I do apologize.
TBI actually physically took the server from him, and but he said that when they watched it, he knows it was about a little after 5 a.m. in the morning. The reason he knows it is because right after what we see, which is keep in mind that's somebody using a cell phone to record the computer monitor while it's playing. He said right after that, where they cut off, the trash truck turns right onto Stafford and the frame. Well, we know that the trash truck was in front of the Proudfoot home at 5:12 a.m. And I disclosed that to kind of give people something to go off and say, listen, so if we're going to believe the owner of the house, then that's that's more the time frame,
So I'll reiterate if you missed what he's saying. So he says that he spoke to the homeowner with the mysterious lights, right? And he said, according to the homeowner, that they went and that he had, even though the timestamp was stuck, according to SF, that right after this mysterious lights, the garbage truck comes, and that's how they know that this video is taken at around 5:10, right? Which FS claims, which is funny because he throws just a little bit of truth in there, right? Just a little bit, just enough. But I'm telling you, it's complete BS. He's leaving so much out, and he's trying to fool you. And I'll show you. And it's all right here.
Record the computer monitor while it's playing. He said right after that, where they cut off, the trash truck turns right onto Stafford and the frame. Well, we know that the trash truck was in front of the Proudfoot home at 5:12 a.m. And I disclosed that to kind of give people something to go off and say, listen, so if we're going to believe the owner of the house,
and then I love how he's kind of throwing the homeowner under the bus, right there. So let me show you guys, for those that are not familiar with this system, let me just show you two different systems, and they're all more or less the same. They have different user interfaces, right? But they're more or less the same. And I'm going to show two different ones. That way, I'm not nitpicking, but I'm going to show the one that's more like the one they have. So basically what you have, right, if you've got a system set up like this, right, is you've got your screen, which obviously... And then on your right, you got your calendar, right? Your basic calendar. Oh, let me scoot this over just a little bit. Okay, you got your basic calendar here. And depending on how big your server or whatever, that you have, because obviously they're all different. Some can record, massive space. Others go to the cloud. There's so many different ways now. But you can pick the date that you've got recordings, right? And then down here at the bottom, you've got a player, your basic player, that looks like a media player, right? But then you have stuff, what's called a timeline at the bottom. And you have different bars and lines. And those lines, depending on how many channels you have, and channels refer to how many cameras you have. So if you have 4 channels, that means you got 4 cameras. You got maybe, one in your driveway, 2 in the front, 2 in the backyard, right? Or whatever. So here we can see on this user interface that there's 4 channels. At the bottom, you can see that there are 4 lines horizontally. The vertical are actual timelines, either minutes, hours, depending on whatever you want to pick. And so here I'm zooming in on it. So each of these bars is a camera. Each of these bars that are vertically, depending on which one you pick, if you pick like the minute one, then it'll cut it down to the minute. If you pick the hour, then it goes to an hour, and you can, look through an hour, or you can do 2 hours, or you can do 24 hours. Now, they're all different, but usually they're based around the same days, hours, at the very least, right? If that makes sense, okay? And then you have even though you have your timestamps that'll show up, you still have a counter, right, when you're playing. And then here he's showing how you can export and everything. And I promise you, this will be huge because I heard this a long time ago, and it just kills me every time I hear him open his mouth because it's such BS. And I hate to get upset, but he's just deceiving people. Okay, so that's one user interface, right? And so here we can see the 4 different channels. So now I'm kind of panning to the right, right? You see 1, 2, 3, 4. So and you can see there's 4, and he clicked on 2, which is this one here. So now he can hear, if there's audio, he can hear it. That specific video, he can now go back on, depending on, what's been recorded, right? But I'm going to show you the user interface that is more like the one that the homeowner had at Stafford, which is like this one. And you'll notice it looks pretty similar. So again, here's a different company, but more or less it has the same user interface. Most of them have the same ones, It has the calendar up at the top right? Then it has the dates that have been recorded. Notice they're green right here. Those are the ones that have been recorded. So you can go back, different days, click on it. And then you can go to the channels, right? Yeah, we know the date on the, we know the date is wrong. We've talked about that, but they know which date because they can click on it up here. Even though the timestamp is frozen, they can still click on whatever date he went missing, right? And yes, please, if you can, hit that like button. So, because this is what they're not telling you, right? And I'll show you a little side by side because obviously we can't see the whole thing because somebody screen grabbed it from a camera and, kind of went up, right? So now at the bottom, same thing, right? Slightly different, user interface. It's got a little bit more stuff on the right. This actually tells you like each system and how much memory has been used to save up. I think per channel is what that is. And then again, you have what's called the timeline on the bottom right here, right? So like I said, the vertical, right now we've got 3 channels, 1 and 3 on. And notice how it's got red, but if you can, I'll zoom in here hopefully. And at the bottom, you can see where it's recorded and not recorded. Now look at the one from the homeowner, right? Same system. It's cut off, but we can see the same thing. We've got the calendar right here, right? He's got tons of channels. This guy's got tons of cameras at his house. I see up to 9 right here. So just think about that. Now, we're only seeing one camera from this homeowner, and I see 9. Now there could be cameras that are off, so and weren't recording. There's always that possibility, but I see at least 1 through 9 here, and those each channel is a camera. And anybody that has, I'm sure there's people in here that have a security system like this and could probably elaborate. And why am I bringing this up? Well, it doesn't matter if you got a timestamp that is broken, because you can still go to certain times, and I'll explain that here in just a second. And they knew approximately when these lights were going on, and I'll show you how they did it. A 5-year-old could have figured this out. I mean, if they were using the system. Okay, so here's just me just showing the dates and the channels. Again, it looks like he's got nine cameras. Again, that doesn't mean all 9 are working, but he has up to 9 that were at some point hooked up. So now we see the timestamp. Obviously, this one's moving. This one is stuck. But if they have a stuck timestamp, it doesn't matter, because what they'll do is down here they have their channels, right? And then they have their the vertical lines. See how it says, and I know it's probably really small, I try to zoom in. You can choose hour, day, so you can either make the timeline where it's 1 hour, you could make the timeline where it's 24 hours, so each bar might be like 4 hours. So here it's clearly a 24-hour, so it's a full day, so it's got 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours. So you can move the video forward, so you can move the video forward 4 hours, or anywhere in between, but then you have an idea how much you're moving forward or back. Does that make sense? And like I said, you can cut that down to 2 hours, you can cut that down to minutes. Each interface is a little bit different, but they all basically have the same concept. So again, you can see that he's got 2 channels here that are being recorded. And when you see these black things, is either it's not recording, or this could also mean that there's no audio. But I think this is just means that it wasn't recording anything when it's there's spaces in between. And somebody could correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Okay, so how did they know it was 3 a.m.? And I've already explained this, but now I need to, show it in a different way, because obviously SF is not going to tell you this, right? Because that wouldn't go with his narrative. Drives me nuts. So as you can see, this guy's clicking on different areas, and I'm just going to show an example here in just a second. I didn't realize how slow I had this. But I really wanted to zoom in where you can kind of see the 4 hours, 8 hours. So see how he kind of clicks anywhere. You can click anywhere, and then it'll move the video, 4, 6, whatever. You can go anywhere on the timeline. Doesn't matter where the timestamp. If it's stuck, that doesn't matter. You can still click on anywhere, and you'll have an idea. And at the bottom here, notice you have a separate counter, right? So you know where you're moving, how many minutes and hours you're moving forward and backwards, right? So what you do when you've got a stuck timestamp is you go to a time that you know is pretty specific, such as a garbage truck that usually always comes at a specific time, say 5 to 5:10 a.m. So you bring that video and you click on it at this part. Even though the timestamp is stuck, you now know that you've clicked on somewhere that's around 5 a.m. It may not be exact, right? Because your thing's stuck. But you now know that you're around at the 5 a.m. mark, right? It's not rocket science, But again, not everybody has the system. So again, this person, SF, is just taking advantage of a lot of people's, whatever, because, again, not everybody has this system, right? So then, what do you do from there? Well, then you start moving it back, and so then you start noticing, oh, well, here's some mysterious lights. Well, you can see that you went 2 hours back, even though the timestamp is stuck, doesn't matter. You can see on the timeline here how far you're going forward or backwards, because one, you have a timestamp of where your garbage truck is at, right? And then all you do is just go back 2 hours from where the garbage truck is, and bam, you got 3 a.m. or approximately, because you know that you just went 2 hours back and you're seeing these mysterious lights move. But of course, SF is not going to tell you that. We known that 6-7 months ago. The homeowner said it, right? He said that's how he figured it out. He went to, and I said it in the live on Wednesday, that the homeowner went to a time that he knew was around the approximate time that he could tell, which was the garbage truck. Usually comes around 5:10 a.m. and then just moved backwards, and voila. But of course, SFS is not going to tell you that, right? Because it sounds better that, it's around 5 a.m. and a garbage truck is coming by. Because he knows not a lot of people have this system and maybe not know how these work. But again, you don't, and you can see right here. So I blow this up too. You can see the player, the interface right here as well, which is obviously kind of like this one here, where you've got the play button, the fast forward. Over here, you would have had your timer, which is separate from your timestamp, right? And it's telling you how, depending on if you've got it in a 2-hour window, a 24-hour window, and then you've just got a timer that you're moving back depending on how big your timeline is, right? So this one's a 24-hour timeline down here as the example. And then, so wherever you click, see how it says 18? Well, yeah, no, it's probably, you can't see it, but it says 18. So he's between the 16 and 20-hour mark, but he's got it right here at the 18. Now, it has nothing to do with this video. I'm just showing as an example, but you have a separate timer. So again, you know how far you've gone back from that garbage truck. And that's what he did. Simple logic. So when a certain reporter who, obviously has credentials, and he's not just going to come and put out a report and say 3 a.m. out of nowhere. He's not just going to pull that out of his butt. Even, I guarantee when he went to go get this, the first thing the homeowner said, well, just to let you know, Nick Barris, the timestamp's frozen. I'm sure it's probably the first thing he told him. It was not a trash truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing he told him is, well, I'm going to go click on the day before and tell you where this camera's pointing, because clearly this surveillance records multiple days, most do. So he can click during the daytime and we can see where the camera's pointing towards the common area. And of course, and so that's why Nick Barris says around 3 a.m. He doesn't say 3:11. He says around 3 a.m. And he says during the common area.
I'm not sure where they're getting that. There's some confusion because the timestamp was broke, as you said, was stuck on that camera. So at like 3-something in the morning. People watch it again, watch the upper left corner when it pans across it, that you'll see it's not moving at all. So you got to just forget about that 3 a.m. for a minute. And be open to, it could be any time during night hours, right? And so with the owner, now we went and did some recreation tests. Mm-hmm. two or three nights we did there. The owner was extremely gracious and let everybody on the property. And he said, and you know, I'm gonna take them at their word. There's no reason not to. He said that, you know, again, he didn't. This was an old school camera.
So listen to what he says, because he tells part truth right here, just a little bit. He just gives you a little nugget, but he twists what the context of what the homeowner is talking about. That's where he's taking advantage of people.
It had its own server. He did not know how to export the footage. TBI actually physically took the server from him, and but he said that when they watched it, he knows it was about, you know, a little after 5 a.m. in the morning. The reason,
see, he knows. See, right here, he's telling the truth right here. This little part, he's telling the truth, but he's taking everything else out of context, right? Because, yes, the homeowner knew. It's like, well, I'm going to go, like I said, for the third time now. He went to where the garbage truck is going by, and he knows that's around 5 a.m., and then now he's got okay, so the mysterious lights are, you know, let's figure out how many hours, minutes behind we see this mysterious lights. And, oh, wow, they're about 2 hours difference. So around 3 a.m.
he knows it is because right after what we see, which is, you know, keep in mind, that's somebody using a cell phone to record the computer monitor while it's playing. He said right after that, where they cut off, the trash truck turns right onto Stafford and the frame. Well,
and see, and he added that little bit in. Well, right after it cuts off, then the trash truck, and then clearly that's just BS.
Well, we know that the trash truck was in front of the Proudfoot home at 5:12 a.m. And I disclosed that to kind of give people something to go off and say, listen, you know, so if we're going to believe the owner of the house, then that's, you know, then that's more the time for.
And I hope the homeowner, you know, again, I feel bad for this neighborhood, man. I mean, you know, all these neighbors and stuff, but, you know, he's really just kind of throwing this guy under the bus, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe you guys take it a different way, but, you know, he's clearly misconstruing what was told to him. And he knows it. He knows it, right? And we'll go over more. Of course, I came prepared because this guy, it's not hard, you know. You know, when you're lying, it's, you know, you're going to get caught. Just Don, thank you so much for coming a member, supporting this channel. We will talk about some clues and stuff because, again, it just shows you how hard they're working to tell you, don't look at this. Don't look at this. It's just nothing. This is why I spend most of my time looking at this, because there's something going on, and we'll go more into it here.
Right,
but,
you know.
But, of course, there's more.
So.
But I hope that makes sense to everybody. Again, because, you know, not everybody has, you know, a system like this. I live in an apartment, you know, but I lived with my aunt it's been 2 years now, but we had a system I mean, like I said, most user interfaces are more or less the same. You know, it might be slightly different, a few, you know, just kind of depending on, you know, what company or whatever. But then more or less, they're all the same. They have a timeline, they have a calendar, they have the channels, you know, and then maybe, you know, just depending, you know, some different stuff, you know, in between. But, you know, basically the main thing is the user interface is more or less built the same. Donna says, why don't you contact the owner for the footage, or law enforcement, even Seth, for the footage? I cannot get this one because this guy, they took the complete server. But I am trying to get footage, and we'll just leave it at that. But yes. Seth, the footage is not in the common area. Yes. You know why he said that? He was told to say that.
So, I guess
they were told to say that. But thank you. But yeah, I can't get this one because they took the server. But anyway, as you can see, there's the video player. And then we'll listen to Nick Barris. But that is how it's set up. That's how they knew to go back at 3 a.m. And we knew that a long time ago. And I know, here's now what everybody's putting out. Yes, he had an interview and he said, no, that's not where the camera is pointed. You know why? Because he was told by law enforcement not to say that. It's already come out of the bag. The cat is already out of the bag. It's been out for a long time. We've known this. Right? Now we're like going back and like trying to dig up. It's ridiculous. Like, is this guy a PI or is this like a defense lawyer? The same thing with Chris. Guaranteed. Put him under oath. I guarantee. Chris Proudfoot told him that they were told by law enforcement to lie about it. Or say it was garbage trucks.
February disappeared.
And let me just reiterate this again. Do you think Nick Barris is just going to randomly say a certain time and literally claim the backyard of Sebastian's home without actually knowing where the camera's pointed? No, he clearly there, saw the server. All he had to do is click on daytime, saw where it was pointed at, and bam, it's pretty simple.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night, pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues.
We have had several clips that
Subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see Subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first.
Now, does that look like somebody? So again, Fisher says, oh, well, this is somebody taking out his trash can. Well, what about the other subject? Like, did he forget that the wife was out there with her flashlight, making sure the coast is clear, making sure, nobody's going to come, be driving up the road at 5 a.m. and, run them over or something, so she's kind of looking out, making sure the husband, is good to go to bring the garbage can down the truck or down the hill. But we'll come back to this again. There's something else that I'll point out.
Before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out.
You think he's going to mention bushes without doing research? I mean, do you think he's really just pulling all of this out of his butt? Right? This guy is a reporter, right? He ain't a YouTuber. He has, he's a reporter. He has credentials. He has a reputation he has to uphold to be a news reporter.
The frame. Then, Subject 2 reappears and follows Subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later, and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area,
Sorry, honey,
and that is it. I know, there's not much to see here. You certainly cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me
I guess the garbage can stunk so bad, he was like, God, I got to get it out of here. Sorry, honey.
mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant. This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of the...
In the immediate area in the backyard, again, he would not say something like that unless he did his research, right? I mean, that is, a pretty big statement, of what he's saying, right? So anyway, let's move on to the next thing that Lord Lodge came out, and we'll come back to this again. There's so many ways that I could throw out that people are not looking at, that are just, it's blatantly right there.
Have been Sebastian?
Maybe
Did he meet and leave?
Stared at this for I don't, God knows how long, and it's just like embedded in my brain, burnt in there.
With someone? Sebastian's father says.
Okay. So what about the camera? Oh, boy. Oh, I thought I misspelled that. What about the camera facing the PF home? So I thought this was very interesting.
They have lights, like planter lights on their porch. I'm talking about the house across, it's shooting from. So it's lighting for that. It's not caring really about the Proudfoot's home, right? And so we tested this. The family there was nice enough to let us into their house and overtake their system and run tests and stuff. And we just had somebody.
But this is the thing. Like, tell me I'm wrong. When it comes to the Sebastian Rogers case, what I show you guys, I would say 80%, 90% is evidence. I mean, yeah, we speculate. We will go over some bullet points and then we speculate on them, which free speech. Last time I checked. And I never talk about, which is funny. I never talk about him being murdered, which, I've been accused of by a certain clown Fisher. I've only talked about abduction because I try to be, pray that this kid is, there was just some kind of, abduction and he's somewhere, hopefully alive. But I've only gone that far. But, of course, if you even talk about the Proudfoot, then I guess, you're claiming that they're murderers, which is just ludicrous.
People walking out, and the FBI did this as well too, just so you guys know. But
so here's him talking about the camera that's facing the front door, and there's something I thought there's two things he mentions, and you got to pay attention. I thought was very, very interesting.
Just walk out of the house and see if we could detect it on the monitor at all, and we couldn't. It's that dark in the neighborhood.
Got it. So.
Thank
I guess
you,
then
God bless you.
To be 100% sure, it sounds like from what you're saying, and I wish, would you be able to release any of that footage, any of those tests, just to put people's minds at ease about it? Be like, no, really, you can't tell. Like, even if it's just.
So again, because like I said, I'm only playing like maybe 10 minutes worth of his 2-hour show, right? Because obviously I don't like taking other people's work, but. He's basically, for the context that maybe people missed it, SF said that they did some recreations. So what they did is I'm assuming they used the same camera, and then they went into the Proudfoot home at night, and then they came out, and, I don't know if they used the exact same setting, if they had the same floodlights up or whatever. But according to SF, he said, well, you couldn't see us when we came out and, walked off or whatever. Is what the gist of it anyway. Making the claim that, yeah, it's possible Rogers could have came out the front door. But then he says something like about 2 minutes later that completely just, yeah, hilarious.
A quick video of somebody walking out of home.
Listen, I would have to ask, and I'll just be honest, because the way that the people have just trampled over the Proudfoots, they don't owe anybody any favors, and in this, and they don't care about like winning anybody's. At this point, they truly only, whether people believe it or not, they just want Sebastian found. And so I don't think
this isn't about favors. This is about, is it possible that he could have made it out the front door? Maybe your test, have you tried to do your test with an independent, when you do tests, and, obviously you may be biased, so you want a third party to come in that is not biased to look at it. That would be sharing it to Aiden or somebody that can verify what you're claiming, right? Because obviously your guys' work, and you're claiming that you can't see yourself coming out. But did you have an independent party come and verify that, right? Because you have a bias. You were getting paid big money, yet you're not going to have somebody independently check it out, right? Because that would be the proper, I would think. But then it's hilarious what he says a little bit later.
I think they're going to give anybody any favors like that. I'll ask, but I wouldn't count on it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
Inside. That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they
but not
on that
motion
night?
censored.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Okay, this is the funniest. This is what's interesting. Think about this, guys. This didn't hit me until today. Remember, Chris hasn't been home, allegedly, for a long time, right? Since like February 3rd or something. I forget. You can correct me in chat. I know it's like the first week in February, right? Hasn't been home for a long time, right? She says that the floodlights weren't on. These are floodlights, right? The garage lights, those are floodlights, right? But guess who comes in to correct her?
Were there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
There's
Yep.
2 lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh, yeah, those are on.
How does he know? How does he get that and she doesn't? Yet she's the one that's supposed to be home. You know, again, I may be looking too much into it, but just kind of weird, you know, that he's the one that knows that the lights are on, but not her.
Oh, there's a light above the garage. It's on at all times.
There's 2, yes, ma'am.
Nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that 2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're very correct.
You are very correct because they were told. I don't know exactly verbatim what they were told, but they were told to lie, say it was a garbage truck. Okay? Same with Seth. So I know that they're coming because that's the only thing they can now do is go back to what, you know, somebody claimed, you know, back with Seth. Now, you know, we've done all these different debunk things, and now that's the new thing. Now we're going back and saying, well, Seth said it was, you know, it wasn't in the common area. Well, of course, because in the beginning of this investigation, they didn't want any of this information out. We have 1,500 people in here. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all. I'm going to get to chat here in just a second. Actually, well, let's do that now. Oh, wait, no, I want to finish this one part because just to, and I made sure to add the context in so I'm not, you know, playing any trickery.
2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're very correct.
Let me play this one more part. So I'm going to play the clip with the Lord Lodge again, him talking about the light, the camera that's facing the home. Now listen to what he finalizes with.
I would just put it this way that, you know, there's a lot of people out there from what I can tell, the majority of people are looking at them as suspects. Something like that, at the very least, would put people's minds at ease that they're not hiding something here. That, you know, you really, if you look at that footage, you really can't see anybody coming out of that house, whether...
Okay, so as you can hear, and if anybody doesn't, they're talking about this camera that's facing the home. Remember that. And remember, he just said that they did these tests that you couldn't see anybody coming out. Now listen to what he says at the end.
Somebody is or not. I think that would probably help a lot of people to maybe get past another reason that they're suspicious.
Yeah, and I get that, but I also see it from their end. But I will say, I know that I saw interview or 2, I think, where with Seth's old PIs, where he had multiple PIs, and they said too that they were aware that the FBI had run these same tests, and in fact, the FBI test wasn't just for that camera, but it was to see if any of the cameras would detect him if he walked a certain route. And you know, in fact, I know when some of the PIs like watching on when that was happening. So, I mean, I'll ask, but I can't. You know, there's got to be some faith in the fact that FBI, TBI, and I think they've probably sent this footage. I'm sure they've sent this footage to the FBI crime lab, which any agency is allowed to use for enhancement. And I think because it's an Amber Alert, if there was an image of him, I think they would release something. I could be wrong, strategy wise, but I just don't think. I mean, well, let me back that up. From that camera.
Okay, from that camera, here we go. Let's wait for it.
It's hard because I go back and forth. I don't think that he's caught on that camera at all, but I do.
So there he is. He went through all that rambling, and he did tests, and then he just said, well, I don't think he's caught on that camera. Oh, man. Yeah. Let me get to chat for just a second, guys. I'm going to try to run through this. Holy cow, we got Hope 8 Fear. Thank you so much for the continued membership. God bless you. NJ's with always giving a Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much. God bless you. Joanne, thank you so much for the $2.99. D, I know, and I tried. I think it's because I switched from StreamYard back, and it screws up the system. I will, first thing I do once I get off my live, I will reset it. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I always have my captions. You guys know that. And so I apologize. Lady for Justice, Justice for Sebastian, thank you. Cindy says, Silent Watcher, love great work. You do. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Cindy. If someone's going to take their trash out at 3 a.m., why would they use a flashlight and not turn on the outside light for safety? Yeah, exactly. Well, he says that they're taking it out at 5 a.m. just before the trash truck comes. But yeah, thank you, Positive Life. That's a cute name. I like the way you spelled that. It's cool. Of course, Carol coming in with a huge $50 donation. Thank you so much. And Jay's, thank you for your passion and honesty. God bless you. It's this community that pushes me. Jules, thank you so much. Keep up the chatter. Thank you so much for becoming a member. K. Miller, Mystery Sky. All right. Love the name. Jilly Bean, good to see a member for 20 months. Sebastian Strong, thank you so much. And we got one more. Greets from the Netherlands coming from Greta. And I think I had something from Denise on PayPal. Thank you guys so much. I'll try to catch up. Okay. Don't dox because it's dangerous. And I've said that on this channel. We don't want, again, we've talked about how nowadays media could be a double-edged sword. We've talked about it many times. But let's listen to what he says on the show the other day. And then let's compare to what's been going on. So you guys all know that he released these two photos, but, clearly has no problem showing the Uber car, but, blacks out this weird, mysterious car at 3 a.m. that I've been focused on, but yet, of course, has nothing to do with the case. We'll get to the car here in a minute, but let's listen to what he says here.
Release it, right?
So, not necessarily, because, listen, I can bring that up and say, listen, this things that there's maybe some hope or something, but that's something that is for investigators, long.
So I think I skipped the part, but he basically asked, well, why don't you release, some of the footage or clips or whatever, of the car if it's not a big deal, basically what I've been saying. And so here's his response to that.
Of course, the private investigators on the case. The public's not entitled to that. There's no reason to give that, because what happens is, look what happened look what happens whenever we release anything. They go to find out who these people are. They dox them. Look at the green hoodie person. I mean, geez.
Yeah, geez. Look how many people went and doxed the green hoodie lady, right? We all went to her home. We have no freaking effing idea who this lady is, but yet we doxed the ever living heck out of her. This poor lady. We have no idea. I mean, I know that there was, some thoughts it could have been Chris's sister, but I don't think that's true. but we have no idea who this lady is. Maybe there's a few, seldom few, but he makes it sound like she went and got doxxed and she had to move. Nobody knows who she is, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? You know, you may think it might be the Melissa, or I forget the name, you know. But the main thing is nobody's gone to dox this lady, right? It's absolutely just ridiculous what he just said right there.
You know, it puts that person's life in danger. So I can't do that. There's no way. I mean, there's been times when I've released footage.
So that was released by At Night, but you know, nobody's been doxxed as far as I know. We're all good there. Now I'm just gonna play a very small clip. I hate to bring this up, but I just have to, because this is just shows just this what a clown he is. You know, again, I don't want to get upset, but because I'm gonna get very upset when I hear this little part. I'm just playing just a small clip.
Kellen, I can see in her yard, does not line up with what she said. And also, you know, she has a son that's lately.
And that's all I'm going to play. A lot of you know what that is. I'm not going to talk anymore about it. But he literally put a mother's son in danger by what he said. And more or less doxed. Right? I mean, what he did is probably worse than doxing. Actually, I would say yes, that is 10 times worse than doxing. Because doxing, you're just showing, like, telling, okay, this is where this person lives. But what he's doing is almost, in my opinion, like 100 times worse. Unbelievable, this guy is, man. What a clown. What a clown.
This cast of characters in these cases, there is absolutely no.
With no proof to back up what he's saying. Just, you know, clearly to get people away looking at something and, you know, give them something to nibble on, right? That's what he's been doing this entire time, right? He's not being a PI. To me, he's being a defense lawyer. Don't you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Don't you get the, like, think about it, like, and moving forward, think about him like, don't think of him as a PI. Think of him as like a defense lawyer, and go back and look what he's done as well. Right? Where he's just trying to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, you know? Right?
Way I'm going to let some of these people, you know, be able to see that, because it puts the person in harm's way.
So,
you know, but then lately, this cast of characters in these cases, there is absolutely no way I'm going to let some of these people, you know, be able to see that, because it puts the person in harm's way.
Oh yeah. We don't want to put any person in harm's way, but you know, we could put a mother's child in danger with, you know, what he said. But we're gonna move on because it you know, I'll just get so upset.
So
you know,
I've never in my entire YouTube career have heard such trash come out of somebody's mouth. That is how upset. And just, all right, so let's listen to him talk about the Uber and the 3 a.m. car. So I don't know if you guys have, but I've got my Tylenol ready because I'm going to have to take one to listen to this, because it gives me a headache, because the way he just bounces around. Clearly, yeah. So let's listen to it. But I encourage, if you got your Tylenol, of course I got the name brand. I'm cheap, you know, but I'd have your Tylenol ready for this one. I actually do have something up above my eye that's kind of bothering me. It's when he's staring at his screen for so long.
Was there for a long time, and I think even the gentleman who...
So of course Lord Lodge asked him about the Uber car and the 3 a.m. car. So let's hear what he's got to say about it, and I'm gonna visualize it for you guys, because this kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, and we'd hear Amber Heard's version of events. You know, she gets punched and she falls to the ground, but she stands up and she turns around, but then she gets slapped. But how she gets slapped when she's turned around, and now she's on the carpet, speaking to the carpet and looking, and how, oh wow, look how white this carpet is, or dirty, I forget, you know what I mean, right? And it's just like, where are you going with this, man? Like, holy hell. This is the same thing.
Who got the Uber to go to the airport had put it on Facebook in the first day or two that he's like, oh, I had an Uber come at 3:30 in the morning. So that had been known.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
I was
a neighbor.
Not a neighbor. It was somebody in the neighborhood. You know, it was somebody on Kellen.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't afraid to put that out. However, the other vehicle.
So he has no problem putting out the Uber car, which is not known to the neighborhood. And obviously there's no way to dox him because he blurred out the face and blurred out the license plate, which I am totally on board with. I would not expect anything less. You know, we can tell it looks pretty much like a Tesla, but again, there's no way we're going to be able to dox this guy. But then you have a car that's going at least 30 miles an hour. So it's going to have some motion blur to it. And even without this black box, we were really only going to have, I guess that it's a sedan, and maybe with motion blur, who knows? I mean, we can see kind of parts of the cars, so I'm assuming most of the cars are going to look pretty much the same. So it's like, why did you go that far to blur this out? So anyway, let's listen to his explanation.
Which I can listen. I know nobody wants to take my word for it, but I can promise you.
Oh, he can promise.
The car is not foreign to the neighborhood. It's known, and
yeah, that's right. Let's take his word, right? Because he's not getting paid by the Proudfoot, right? He's not biased by any means, right? Just take his word, right? The person who's lied to you about the 5 a.m., but it's not 5 a.m., it's 3 a.m. We've known that for a long time, even though I've already explained it long before this of how that homeowner came to the conclusion that it was around 3 a.m. with the mysterious lights in the car. But anyway, so here is his explanation.
They are not. That's not known. If that person, I know people would try to find out who that is and whatnot, and they go after them. And this person, quite honestly, this person probably has no idea that people are trying to figure out what car that is and stuff. And it has nothing to do with anything. Unfortunately, keep in mind, we want to find the clue. So it's just
really. Do you want to find clues, or you just want to keep going on Twitter and attacking people, or putting out false narratives? And what have you done? Like, seriously, like, what has this guy done? I'd like to know how much he's been paid, and how much has he done? Yeah, he's collected footage, but what has he done with that footage? My God, what I would do with that footage. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be posting it everywhere on the internet, but if there was something that, like, okay, there's something I can't figure out, maybe I'd send it to some people, and then if I felt comfortable that it's not going to obviously dox anybody, I would probably put it out there to maybe help with the investigation, because here we're almost 11 months, and next thing you know, it's going to be an anniversary. Like, how long are we going to... The cat's already out of the bag. We know where the damn lights are at. Quit playing stupid. We know that there's a car at 3 a.m. around that area. We played stupid for the first couple months, because if you know, right? So anyway, let's listen to his explanation.
It's pointing to us as well when none of these things are connecting,
So you say that this vehicle is not foreign to the neighborhood. Are you then saying that the vehicle is commonly in the neighborhood but is not owned by someone in the neighborhood?
That'd be fair to say.
Okay, so let's listen to him describe who this driver is.
Okay,
Yeah.
is this?
It's, think of it like.
Do you know who?
Okay, so this is the part where I told you, like, remember the Amber Heard story where it just makes no freaking sense at all, and I feel like I just lost a few brain cells trying to comprehend what he's trying to say.
Who the owner?
Think of
You
it
know
as-
who the owner of the vehicle is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying something. I don't want to cut you off.
Think of it as like, there's daily, like people that come in Ubers and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's an Uber driver. So we had 2 Uber drivers. I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting.
Amazon deliveries or whatever it may be.
Oh wait, no, now it could be an Amazon driver. Or an Uber driver who's undercover with an Amazon undercover, work a double agent, maybe?
But you have this, you have the same type of, person for the neighborhood, so it's a known person, but not necessarily a resident.
So is this somebody with any known connection to the Proudfoot family?
No.
I mean, he couldn't. I'm pretty sure he said no before that question finished. I mean, he didn't even take a second thought, but he knows.
Okay, so not a.
So, but we've got Uber driver / Amazon delivery driver so far. That's our clues, right?
But not a family.
But not a family member or residence. Okay, all right. This is making sense.
Member, not a friend. All right, so I guess
no.
that's.
Yeah.
Is this somebody?
keep in mind, there's a construction site next door. There's a lot of work going on. And I know that it's a weird time of morning, but there's still, things that there's.
Oh, wait. Well, so it's a construction worker who's part-time Uber driver and Amazon delivery. And he's just showing up at 3 a.m., because, he's punctual, even though they're not going to start work until like 6:30, when daylight, actually comes up or, whenever. Very punctual, handsome looking guy. So that's our clues right there. We've got a construction part-time Uber Amazon delivery driver that likes to show up in this neighborhood from time to time. Makes absolute sense. Got it right at 3 a.m., right? God, I wish I would have thought of that.
Still, workers and whatnot. It's not a worker from the construction area. It's
what? No, not the handsome construction guy. Wait. You just mentioned the construction worker and construction site. Now you're taking him away? What? I'm sorry, ladies. We gotta cross
I don't
him
want to say
off.
it's hard.
We're playing Clue, and he's just trying to confuse the ever-living. Like I said, I've lost a couple brain cells trying to listen to this. What in the hell is he trying to say? If he knew what it was, yeah, it's a boyfriend that shows up, a few times a week to pick up his girlfriend. Bam. It take 2 seconds, right? Holy shit.
It's a person that.
But no, it continues on because, of course, I think he's now starting to, because he's rambling on, and now he's like, oh, well, God, this sounds stupid as hell.
Is in that neighborhood, in and out.
Oh, it's a known person. So it's Mr. Rogers, right? We all love Mr. Rogers. Respect, and God bless. Loved him growing up, but it's now it's a known person. I don't know. I might have been talking about this. So let me back that up again. Oh, I might have backed it up.
Family member, not a friend. Or family member, not a family member.
Things that.
Sorry, guys. I
There's
think
still,
I was talking.
workers and whatnot. It's not a worker from the construction area. It's
again. Sorry, ladies. It's not the construction worker.
I don't want to say, it's hard to say. It's a person that is in that neighborhood, in and out.
In and out. Okay, yeah, that gives us a lot of clues.
Several times a week, and it's a
Several
known
times a week.
person, and there's nothing, absolutely zero to it whatsoever. Nefarious.
Definitely not nefarious. Got to make sure we mention it's not nefarious, right? We couldn't have just said, "Yep, this is a guy that likes to go pick up his girlfriend," or if this is or it's just a buddy that likes to go pick up his buddy or drop his buddy off. Like they have poker night. I don't know. Something just simple. It would holy shit. I mean, went from Uber driver. First, he's talking about it's some kind of delivery person. Then he talks about it's construction. But, oh, wait, no, it's not construction. Then it's just somebody that, hey, he just shows up from time to time, It's good old Mr. Greg, there's Greg, it's Tuesday or 3 a.m., Tuesday in the morning. That's him driving down the road again, What in the hell? Come on. I would love Deception Detective to break this down because obviously that's in his wheelhouse. But like I said, I thought I had an aneurysm when I was listening to this. And I hate to, like I said, because this is distracting me from, but it does give me some clues because it tells me he has no effing idea who this person is. So, sorry, I got something in my eye. So, at the very least, I could tell this guy, SF, is full of shit. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to put it out there. He has no idea who this guy is, right? Who this person is. Because remember, he didn't even... Remember, at one point he said, oh, yeah, it was like the boyfriend dropping off the girlfriend, if you guys remember that. But he didn't mention that here, so what? Did he forget about that part? That this boyfriend that drops off his girlfriend, who is a Uber/Amazon delivery driver, who used to work for the construction site, but he got fired the week before, but he still likes to show up just in case they need work. You never know at 3 a.m. But definitely not nefarious. He has no idea who this is. And I really wish Lord Lodge, I understand he had multiple bullet points to go around, so, no shade. I'm happy that, at least he got to be exposed as a clown he is. But it really gave me great insight because there's one other thing that he didn't talk about. There's one thing that he has never really brought up that I'm going to tell you why it's so important, why I look at these lights. But clearly he has no idea who this car is. KP truck dealer. Yeah, right, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know why. So I don't believe, I think people might be confused about they're calling the lights video.
So then talks about the lights video. Of course, that he says at 5 a.m.
We put out an analysis on it that we did on it using AI and stuff. And I think that people might be confused of what I'm saying on that because I think I'm agreeing with what they're saying. I don't believe that's a trash truck. And law enforcement's insisting that's a trash truck. That's not a trash truck.
Yeah, because they were told, and there he is kind of admitting to it. This is such, oh my God, this is such hypocrisy. They literally just tweeted me about what Seth said, and because they were told to say that it was a garbage truck. They didn't want this out, so oh my God, it's so ludicrous. And anyway, I am working behind the scenes. Trust me, we've got stuff in the works. Allison said that he charges $15,000 retainer fee and usually $2,200. And what has he done with that? Give me the footage. I don't even need that money. Give me the footage. I will work on it. Oh, so frustrating. Kate Miller says, great live. Appreciate your hard work. Thank you so much for the $100 super chat. That is very generous of you. Thank you so much. God bless you. But there are clues into this. So obviously this isn't all just, because, you know, I hate the drama. I hate it. But I wanted to give you context about how they knew it was at 3 a.m., you know, and where SF is leaving you in the dark. And if you miss that, I'll touch on it at the end.
The light video is not Trash Truck. So I'm not sure where they're getting that. You know, there's some confusion because the timestamp was broke, as you said, was stuck on that camera. So at like 3 something in the morning. People watch it again, watch the upper left corner when it pans across it, that you'll see it's not moving at all. So you got to just forget about that 3 a.m. for a minute. That, you know, and be open to, it could be any time during night hours, right? And so with the owner, now we went and did some recreation tests. Two or three nights we did there. The owner was extremely gracious and let everybody on the property. And he said, and you know, I'm gonna take them at their word. There's no reason not to. He said that.
Okay, I think I meant to clip that part out. I don't know why that doubled up. Oh, I thought I had one more clip in there. So anyway, oh, I know. You know what? That clip was supposed to be the clip where he talks about the lights. Oh, and it got switched. Dang it. So anyway, what's interesting is, you know what they don't ever mention? They always try to discredit this or say, you know, that it's, you know, a guy walking his garbage can out to the street just before the garbage truck comes. But you know what they never mention? They never talk about this. Never. Right? The car. I mean, this is a car, right? What else can it be? You know? But they never talk about it. You know, they talk about how they talk about the floodlights. They'll touch on this, but notice they never talk about this, right? And then if you take it all in with him, clearly he has no freaking clue who the owner of the mysterious car. He has no clue. And he's just making things up. And on top of that, there's only 2 cars, right? Right? So he's even confirmed that. He said there's only 2 cars. So if you think about it, this also just tells you what time this video's at. This is just another reconfirmation that this video's at 3 a.m. because there's only 2 cars, right? We know the Uber car is accounted for. So that only leaves one other car. And the question is ask yourself, right? Okay, why is he, right? So we know the car got caught on this camera up here, right? Up on Kellen. Here, let's see. Do I got the video here? Oh, I know where I have it. Give me a second, guys. Okay, here we go. So think about this, right? If this is a person, let's say, dropping off the boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Well, okay, so why did they drive up here, right? Because remember, there's only 2 cars. So if this car goes up Kellen, and it's mysteriously at 3 a.m., why is it turned on Stafford, right? If you were going to go drop off your girlfriend, boyfriend, why didn't you just turn on to Stafford, you know, and you're letting off your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever here? It makes no sense. And clearly, the way he says it, it's almost like this person shows up regularly, which means that they'd be showing. Anyway, it makes zero sense. But again, why would they be going up Kellen only to come back around and turn on to Stafford, right? It makes zero sense. You know, I know people do go out for a night drive, but again, you know, we're talking about the night that Sebastian went missing, and it's a school night and everything. And it's 3 a.m. You know, it's not like it's midnight or 1 where teenagers are being a little late. You know, the 16, 17-year-olds that still have school, but they kind of stretch out their curfew. But we're talking about 3 a.m. in the morning, right? And SF never talks about this. You know, he never talks about this part in the video, right? They always talk about the floodlights and they talk about the lights that are moving, but they never talk about what is a car. I mean, it's a car, right? There's only one thing that has something that lights up in the front and the back simultaneously, other than a car. So, but yeah, just notice that because I listened for it because I'm like, okay. And that's why I wish Lord Lodge would have done a little more research about like the car and the lights. I mean, I'm sure they did, but I don't think they really, you know. And I didn't want to send them stuff because I felt like, you know, let them do their stuff, you know, because we try to stay in our lane and we do our own thing. But again, they never talk about this. And that just goes back to them, you know, trying to, is it before this or after? Oh, I think it's right after. All right, 1 second. Yeah, right here. Where, he just literally posted this 2 days ago, you know, after I did the interview with Coffindaffer. And, you know, here he's trying to, again, like I said, is he a PI or is he a lawyer? And he's basically pointing out how Seth, way back in the day, obviously remember, this is early on in the investigation, like what, 1 month, 2 month most, when clearly they didn't want that footage out and they didn't want anybody, they didn't want anybody looking at that, right? So of course so Seth was told to lie just like Chris. But that's old news, man. Like we've known that. So it's like for them to bring this up, like, oh, this is like a gotcha moment. Like, yeah, we knew that they had to lie about that. That's probably about the only thing that Chris, you know, when he uses law enforcement as an excuse, you know, like law enforcement told me not to say anything, you know. It's probably the one thing that he probably, you know, telling the truth on. So, anyway, let me get to chat here. So, we're working on some things behind the scene. We have Pincho in the chat. Maybe we'll do a live here soon. Pincho, I'm going to email you, buddy. And maybe when you have like a new update or something, maybe we could do a you know, maybe kind of a fundraising or something. Not a fundraising, but you know, so people can support you, because I you know, we'll put your PayPal in the chat or something if they want to send you some money for what you're doing. I did have you know, the usual Michelle After Dark trying to debunk. It's so funny because the only thing that they can debunk is that, I guess, that she said the lights. What did she do? Would she overlay them? I think she did. Anyway, she's saying, well, how can this light be so up here? But I think she's not taking into consideration that the different cameras, and that this flashlight could be just a person standing in front of the house. And that you still, even though you have your floor plan, you can tell that your floor plan isn't like complete. Like you spent a lot of time in the driveway. You made sure that you got your stuff lined up across the street. But, you know, I know you know, had asked me about the lights, you know, so clearly you're still building onto this. And I don't think people fully understand that. So, you know, again, anywhere that they can try to debunk, but yet, you know, they try to do that. So anyway, I'll have to get with you, Pincho, and but anyway, still amazing work. It seems like you've got a lot of followers from it, and such an amazing job. I don't know if it's glass, so I've heard it's a screen, like mesh screen. So I think it still would be see-through, is what somebody local told me. So kind of same concept, but yeah, I think a screen might actually, because it's been on glass. Yeah, I don't know what would shine. Yeah, I don't know what would shine through better. If a flashlight went behind it, between a screen, you know what I mean? Like a mesh screen. Yeah, because I think that's what that is. That's what I was trying to tell you, Pincho, if you're still in the chat, buddy. That, and I know because I think you're in the UK. I know sometimes, English words, or, some have different meanings. But I think if you look, it's actually, from what they told me, it's not glass, it's a screen, and yeah, that is pretty see-through. I mean, we can see the home. So yeah, if somebody walked by with the lights, because that's the house on the other side, I'm pretty sure, right? Oh no, that's not. So that's good to know. But you get it figured out. But you could go in between that, actually, though. In between those two spots. But yeah, again, it could be just someone standing right here watching the car sitting here. And one last thing. I've said it before. This homeowner pointed where the car was at. Talked about jumping the ditch. All from the homeowner. Right? Long time ago. But again, like I said, I encourage anybody to do their own research. You can see, like I said, this is kind of this we'll finish on, and I'll recap for just a little bit more. We'll finish up. But you can see in some of the shots I have, you can see kind of where, obviously because they're recording with their phone, but you can see where they're looking at the server, the user interface of the camera. And you can see they got the calendar. They have up to at least 9 channels, which is cameras. So they could have up to 9 cameras. Maybe they have cameras inside the home as well. And then you have your timeline player at the bottom. And again, it don't matter if the damn time stamp is frozen. You can still figure out, kind of what time things are going on just by using your 24-hour recording, right? So again, and of course, FS is not going to tell you that. So, and anyway, and I just don't understand, like, to some people, they just don't want to admit when they're wrong. Like, it's like a sin if you're, if you get something wrong, right? I mean, we're human. We all make mistakes. I don't know. Let's rechat. I'll leave this up. I'll just let this play. Do you want me to play this aneurysm thing?
Stream
just so you guys can
to
hear
it,
because this
with anything.
again,
Unfortunately,
I'll do this one more time. Just
we
to get a
want
little laugh.
you have the same type of,
I read chat here.
The owner of the vehicle is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying something. I don't want to cut you off.
Think of it as like,
Okay. Think of it. Okay, it's very complicated because, it's a person, it's a driver. It's very complicated. It's there's a lot of variables here. So I've got to really, kind of expand on it a little bit, kind of create a universe around this car and this driver, right? Because I don't think you're going to understand if I just said, yeah, it's just a boyfriend that shows up like every Tuesday, Friday to drop his girlfriend off. Bam. No big deal. Nope.
There's daily, like people that come in Ubers and stuff like that, or, Amazon deliveries or whatever it may be. But you have this, you have the same type of, person for the neighborhood, so it's a known person, but not necessarily a resident.
So is this somebody with any known connection to the Proudfoot family?
Thank you, Allison.
No.
Okay.
Or I mean,
so not a family member, not a friend. All right. So I guess
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
Is this
I mean,
somebody?
keep in mind, there's a construction site next door. There's a lot of work going on. And I know that it's a weird time of morning, but there's still, things that there's still, workers and whatnot. It's not a worker from the construction area. It's
Oh, no, I'll just stop there because, I mean, Christ on crack. You have no idea. You have no idea. Allegedly with Brittany, thank you from one creator to another. We won't stop. Allison says, "Take a breath, Chris. We're all doing what all you're doing is what all matters." Thank you so much. Again, I'm always working on stuff. You guys know this is not usually what I like to do, but I hate it when people take advantage of other people, not giving them full context of stuff, like the whole homeowner, and just saying, "Oh, well, the homeowner said that the garbage truck comes right after," but yeah, he did say that, but the way he says it, he's taking it all out of context and really just throwing the homeowner under the bus, and that's disgusting. I'm sorry. Rose Bunny, thank you so much for the $4.99. Alicia says, "Love your work, dedication, and you make me laugh my ass." I get it. SF gets under all of our skin, and again, it's just like I hate it. Like, I don't want to be going after him or anybody. I don't. I just want to focus on Sebastian, but I don't know. I want to make sure people have context. That's what that's what this show was for, to really understand how they figured out the 3 a.m. It was not hard. I heard it a long time ago, how they figured it out. It wasn't a big surprise. And we've known where the camera's pointing, right? But they had to lie because in the beginning, obviously with the Amber Alert, it's likely a child abduction. And, when it's a domestic, when it comes to child missing, the statistics, when it comes to family, you look inside and then you work your way out. You don't do the opposite and start with the neighbors and, work your way in. If you can't get past the parents, you don't go further than that, right? And stuff doesn't add up with the parents. Where the hell is I forget her name. Where is Katie? I mean, again, she don't act like mothers that I've interviewed where they would just die to be on all these shows, getting the word out. Oh, Ruckus. Oh, Pincho put it out. Oh, good for you, Pincho. If the mods want to put the link, if they haven't already, yeah, please. That's awesome. Good for you. Thank you, Jules. Yeah, the ruckus, because like I said, the ruckus. I kind of figured they would probably get trees kind of blocking the camera, and I forget I remember in this video, right? One thing that people need to remember. And this is where SF is taking advantage of people again, is this is my last thing and then we'll finish up. Sorry, guys. My computer's probably going to go nuts. Let me just show you, just to give you an idea. This is how much, see all these? This is for Jen's show right here. This is, I said, I pride myself in preparing a show for you guys because your time to me is valuable, right? So, but this was for Jen, and I spent, look at this madness. I spent 3 days, not 3 days straight, but, I probably put in, 20 hours putting this all together. I even had her little picture come up when I was going to ask her a question, But anyway, then you have creators like somebody like After Dark that just, hey, I'm going to quickly put out a video without actually doing any research. I'm going to say these Google image or these satellite imageries are fake and they're probably Google. But then if you actually just did a side-by-side, you could see that they're not Google images because they're horrible image, Google compared to the satellite. Private ones are so much better. Last thing I'm going to add on to this. Okay. So, as we zoom in here, right? Let's see, let me get this one. Okay. Sorry. Okay. What do we notice here? What's the common? Oh gosh, you can't see everything because it's the player. That's the only thing I hate with the player. Damn it. Well, I'll just explain it anyway, even though you can't see the damn lights, which is probably the most important thing. Shit. Now you can kind of see them. But the most common thing you see here is everything as at an angle, right? Notice everything, vehicles, angle. Vehicles, angle. The floodlights, we know are floodlights, angle. They all have something in common, right? They're all an angle, right? And then what did the lights do? Subject 1 and 2. How did they move? Did they move laterally? Left to right? No. They move diagonally. Oh, I guess I could have done this. It's probably a little bit better, but the commonality is everything is moving and everything's facing an angle because of the way the camera's facing. So if you wanted this guy to be the garbage man or the guy that's taking out his trash can because that's what he's trying to fool you into, well, that wouldn't make sense because, he's trying to say that he's going downhill, but that's not how the ground is. If you want to level everything out, you've got to turn it, right? Look at I've done this a million times. You've got to turn everything before you start trying to claim this guy's doing that and going down inverted hill or whatever. Because now he's just going left to right on a driveway that is vertical. But again, he's the one that's getting paid to, and what made me so sick is when he says, I'm basically the PI on behalf of Sebastian Rogers, and I just want to puke when I hear that. It just disgusts me. I use Filmora. It's a great program. I know Adobe is probably the premier one, but I like Wondershare Filmora. I feel like you can do just about anything as Adobe. There might be a few extra things because Adobe has a bunch of sister programs or whatever you want to call them that you can kind of build into it. I think Wondershare is getting there, but I do like it. I forget what the base. I think it's like $25 a month, and then you have a bunch of add-ons. But I love it. Yeah, I love it. There's free ones. Obviously they don't have all the stuff, but yeah, Wondershare is great, and they're always updating. So I do like it. All right, guys, I am gonna head out. Please hit that like button if you haven't. Thank you, Copper Horse, for putting Pincho's thing out there. Thank you to all my mods, Copper Horse, D, Sensei, Jennifer. I don't know if I saw Jocelyn in here. I know she works sometimes. We may need to get an extra one in here just because we got big shows going. But thank you to my members, my Patreons. You guys support me, push me, motivate me. And again, this isn't the kind of lives I like to do. I like to focus on breaking down the evidence, but I think we got some clues. I don't think he went out the front door. We even heard Fisher basically say that they don't believe he went out the front door either. Oh, one more thing. Actually, don't go anywhere. Oh, one more thing. Oh, one more. Oh. Why do I have to always sign into my email? 1 second. I got it. I promise. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There it is. Okay.
He was going to say, well, heard it. Everyone would have heard it.
From the outside. And the
Do you hear that?
thing.
Yeah,
but
I understand
that's a safety thing.
Yeah, I
but
understand that.
where he could have locked
From the
on his
outside.
own or from the outside.
Okay.
And the one.
Okay, so he's talking about the locks on the door, right? Now, I think I know, because remember, we talked about there's keypads. There's the keypad locks with the, you just punch in the number, and that's on the front door, and that's on the side garage door, which I don't think he went out either one. And then there's the back patio where there's two ways to get to that back patio, and they both had the deadbolt. And this is the one he's talking about, the 2 deadbolt ones to the backyard.
He wouldn't have gone out because of how much noise it makes.
Okay, now pay attention.
Yeah.
Everybody would have, and plus it would have been seen on camera. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Now, did you hear that?
Everybody?
Thing.
Yeah, I
But-
understand that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
He was about to say everyone would have heard it. Now listen, it gets better. Everyone. But Katie was supposed to be the only one home that night.
Yeah, interesting. I'll have to listen to more of that. That got just sent to me, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But, and of course, I'll argue both sides. Maybe she just, she's just saying in general, anyone would have heard that, again, because I try to be fair and look at both sides, but there's so many things where they slip up, and it's really, it's just those red flags that just pile up. But when it all comes down to it, they still have not explained this. They've tried to say garbage truck. Now, we've never thought it was garbage truck. Now it's some guy moving his lights, garbage men in between the yards. And still they have not even touched on this car at 3 a.m. And yeah, and that's the reason why you see me work on this, because there's something there, and hopefully we'll get something in a week or two. We'll see. I don't want to say anything and jinx it, but we're working behind the scenes. So, again, God bless you all. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I think we'll be back Sunday. Maybe do a show and then a member show. I think that's a lot of fun. If by chance I missed you on PayPal or Venmo, thank you, and I'll thank you in the next live show, but I didn't see anything else come in. So with that, love you guys. I am getting the pet pictures because people are sending me more pet pictures, so I will do that. FedEx in the bushes. Right, yeah. Yeah, Pincho's amazing. No, I looked at that. No, you got to remember. No, I did look at that. Yeah, no, it's the same. Everything's the same. Yeah, yeah, it's the same. You got to remember, he just put out the trash trucks, right? Wait a minute. It's two. Yeah, it's because he put out the trash cans. Wait, no, because it's at that. Or did he? He could have pulled them back in. No, they're there. No, they're there. It's the lighting. No, they're on this side. I can see it. Yeah, because there's the... Yeah, it's the lighting. So this is a trash can, I think. And this is the mailbox. This is the mailbox on the other side. There's the trash can here. There's the mailbox. And there's the mailbox on the other side. So no, it's... It just looks different because he's got the light. He's lighting stuff up, so now it's casting a shadow. So no, it's the same. Trust me. If he fabricated it, I would have been on him. It's just the lighting. If you look at it, with that, but that's it's not a bad catch. I do remember looking at that. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, but no. So anyway, but yeah. All right, guys. See you Sunday. God bless you guys.